And welcome back to another episode of Bad Fiverr Script. What? Oh, this is the first one? We haven't done this before? Oh, wait. And there's nobody behind the camera that I'm talking to? Oh, this isn't going to look good. We should probably cut this. So, I had an idea. I have gone to Fiverr for a good many things. Logos for different businesses and ideas that I've had, t-shirt designs, and normally, in the end, the result comes out relatively well. So, I decided, why not give them a try on a script for this channel? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read one of the scripts that I purchased off of Fiverr. Now, pretty much word for word, and just to have some fun. This one is called The Historic Tale of Drag Racing. Now, before we get started, I will say that obviously the person that wrote this is from another country, so their English is not great. And number two, perhaps we will learn something. Could be interesting, it will be fun. So, here we go. The Historic Tale of Drag Racing. Intro. Drag racing is probably the most popular style of racing amongst youngsters. It is just based on a straight quarter-mile track, so the races are really short but pretty exciting. The one whose car has the fastest burst speed and can maintain that speed before reaching the finish line wins the race in most cases. So, in this video, we will be discussing the origins of drag racing. And so, without further ado, let's begin. Not too bad of an intro. Drag racing is not something that has become a thing since the start of the 21st century. This niche of drag racing, of car racing, has been around for over 90 years now. It's not like cars back in the day were as slow as a go-kart. They used to be incredibly fast as well. Drag racing started growing in America from Southern California. I'm getting a bit tongue-twisted. I do apologize, but here we go. From Southern California after the First World War, where drag racing was known as dark lakebed racing. Cars used to go really fast back in the day as well, and there was a newly born interest in racing amongst enthusiasts back in the day. So in this video, we'll talk about drag racing, the history, the origin, the innovation, everything. So, in the 1030s, I'm pretty sure it was supposed to say 1930s, Southern California, the dry lake beds used to be wide open, making a perfect racing track. The track was available for Hot Wheelers, and soon the park started a Road Runners Club in 1937. Then World War II started, and it brought a lot of destruction all around the world. However, one positive thing that happened due to the war was that the young American boys started to have some know-how about engineering trends going on in America and other parts of the world. The reason behind this was that the aircraft industry required better engineering to make better planes for strong war efforts. Now these young technicians started to use their aircraft knowledge, which is true, on cars and try to improve cars to make them faster. However, the race culture in America became a little violent back in the day, where these young junkies used to do risky kinds of races to test their limits. Entirely untrue. Even though the lake bed was still open for racers and away from residential area, adrenaline junkies tried racing near the residential areas, putting everyone's life in great danger. In 1947, the Southern California Timing Association was created to bring this growing group of thrill seekers together. Wally Parks was once again instrumental in the formation of the group. Then, in the late 1940s, the idea of drag racing, or the idea of drag race, was pitched. A concept of short range was side-by-side racing.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
In smaller towns, the main drag was the only paved portion. It's possible that the racers paid each other to get their car out of the garage so they could compete. Drivers may drag through the gears to increase revs by keeping the car in gear longer. Maybe not double clutching as they should either. The first official drag race happened in Goleta, California. May have pronounced that wrong. And the second drag race took place at Garden Grove's Mile Square Airstrip. And if it was the official first drag race, I just learned something, and maybe you did too. The Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah hosted the SCTA's first Speed Week. This is the first time that timed speed runs have been used. In the 1950s, with the launch of NHRA, we saw the rise of drag race like never before. Obviously, there had to be an organization that looks after drag racing culture and keeps it under control. NHRA became the new sanctioned body for legalized and safe drag racing across America. The first sanctioned race under the legalization of NHRA was held in April 1953. In 1954, we witnessed the first car that was built solely for drag racing, built by Mickey Thompson. The drag racer was a front-engine car that is also called a slingshot in some places. Until the 1970s, these slingshots were the real representation of speed back in the day. They were like the Bugatti of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Top Fuel dragsters are machines designed specifically for this type of competition. Their names come from the fuel mixture they use, consisting of 90% nitromethane and 10% alcohol. Cars can produce more power in their engines by using this mixture instead of ordinary gasoline. The Top Fuel dragster has a short frame and a small front wheel. The narrow frame goes to the driver's cell and roll cage, and then back to the engine. The engine is placed as far back as feasible due to these devices' dangerous nature and weight distribution. Large rear wheels and tires assist in transferring the enormous power to the ground and moving the cars in a straight line at high speeds. Because these vehicles go so quickly, a parachute is deployed once the race is done to slow them down. Because certain courses can't handle full quarter-mile racers with Top Fuel cars, 1,000-foot courses are held instead. The race lasts only 3 seconds on the short course and 4.5 seconds on the larger quarter-mile length. In that time, the driver has reached speeds of almost 333 miles per hour. The next big thing for the NHRA was a proper legalized drag race event, and it was held in the year 1955. Great Bend, Kansas hosted the NHRA's first national event. The event was canceled after the third day due to the greatest storms the area has experienced in decades. The finals were held 2 months later in Phoenix. Calvin Rice won top eliminator with a 10:30 estimated time at 143.95 miles per hour run in the end. And the NHRA kept growing. And while NHRA was working with manual transmission drag race cars, in the 1960s they started accepting automatic transmission cars. In the 1960s, we saw the rise of the muscle cars, with companies like Chevrolet, Dodge, and Ford bringing their respective cars to the drag racing scene. In the 1960s, there were so many innovations in cars. For example, we did not have normal Top Fuel dragsters. We had nitro-powered Top Fuel dragsters. Also, we had some new leaders of the strip. 409-powered Chevy Impala Z11s, lightweight 427 cube Ford Galaxies, and 413 cubic inch Plymouth Belvederes became the most favorite cars of all the drag race lovers. Buying one of these bad boys was the dream of every drag racer, drag race driver. the race culture started evolving more and more, and now slingshots and dragsters weren't the only kinds of cars seen at the drag races. Now, muscle cars and supercars had also joined this market. Even pro stock motorcycles were now a part of the races that the NHRC organizes, which I'm not really sure where that came in, but NHRC, maybe it's the NHRA. Another type of car that was being used in the races was the funny car. And even though the funny car had a pretty weird design, it was really aerodynamic, and it could reach a high speed in a really short period of time. Then, as time passed, funny cars went past the pro stock era, and the highest horsepower recorded in a funny car back in the day was 1800 horsepower. However, one tragic accident in 1970 caused the NHRA to introduce rear engine dragsters and don't lower crash cases to a great extent. However, one tragic accident, I'm going to read this over again to make sure that I understand. One tragic accident in 1970 caused the NHRA to introduce rear engine dragsters and don't lower crash cases to a great extent. Then, this race culture kept going, and we saw many drag racing legends over the years. But in the 2000s, NHRA realized that cars were getting way too fast, or are getting way too fast, and mandates a fuel blend with only 90% nitromethane. So to fix this, in 2001, NHRA introduced its import drag racing series with a 6-car schedule. A rear-drive Toyota Celica with a twin-turbo V8 engine becomes the first sport compact car to reach 200 miles per hour. Jumped around a bit. After hearing the owner's complaints, the NHRA reinstated the 90% nitro fuel limits, and according to onboard diagnostics, top fuel engines with 90% nitro currently produce 8,000 horsepower from 500 cubic inches. Then, in 2008, the NHRA put an end to the import drag racing series. I liked the import drag racing series. And fast forward to 2021, NHRA is now a renowned leader in the world of motorsports with over 70,000 members and over 40,000 registered competitors. Each week, NHRA competitions are held at 120 member tracks from across North America in NHRA's 7 geographic areas. NHRA conducts popular weekly grassroots events at many of its member tracks, in addition to the headlining Mellow Yellow Series, which crisscrosses the United States, making 24 stops in 21 cities in 10 months. The NHRA is a diverse organization. NHRA derives on distinctive competitors, accomplishing unique achievements with more than 20 categories of competition at the professional level, including top fuel, funny car, pro stock, and pro stock motorcycle, and a multicultural array of high-octane individuals it labels world champions. So, in conclusion, that's all for today. Hope you liked this video, and if you did, press the like button. Also, if you are new to this channel, press the subscribe button, and do not forget to press the bell icon for timely updates. Till then, see ya. Well, there we go. Our first relatively bad Fiverr script. So this is going to be a little bit of a series that we do from time to time, the Fiverr scripts, basically reading them directly as they come, and maybe we'll learn some stuff. I know it's definitely a tongue twister, but I'm having some fun. Anyways, we will see you next time on Sendology. If you get a chance, go to the website, go to the store. Will be linked down below, and maybe check out one of the shirts, which for the most part, Fiverr, a lot of the different artists on Fiverr are the ones that have helped me create the designs for for these shirts. I think they came out pretty good. What do you think? So until then, we'll see you next time.